Captain Myers. I'm the XETC project officer for the brigade. Today I'll be talking to you about Raven Focus. Raven Focus is the 81st SBCT's concept tied to CRX or XETC. The brigade wants to get a rep at fighting in a similar manner to how we fight during NTC. Raven Focus will be based on 5 principles of training, which are: you will learn by doing, the teacher learns the most, competition drives excellence, train at the threshold of failure, and use scenarios and free play exercises. Force on force training is not easily pulled off. It is the responsibility of OCTs, the training audience, and everyone involved to ensure the rules are enforced. OCT commands are crucial to ensure the legitimacy of adjudications. The in-roll command will signal that force on force play has begun or has restarted. The TAC pause call signifies that force on force actions must cease for OCTs to properly adjudicate or to facilitate real-world medevac and CASEVAC operations. Out of roll, or SOBI, will mark the end of a force-on-force scenario. No more adjudication will happen, however, some level of tactical posture will remain in effect. The tactical posture, i.e. pulling security or maintaining noise and light discipline, will be determined by the echelon that is currently covering down on the ex-con roles and responsibilities. End X marks the end of all force-on-force scenarios, at which point battalions will dictate the overall tactical posture for their soldiers.
Hello, I'm Captain Keys. I'm the XCTC Logistics Project Officer, and I'd like to take a moment now to go over some of the general rules. Uniform. All personnel will wear the uniform prescribed by the chain of command. In addition to the uniform, there will be a system of marking that allows each team to identify themselves. All soldiers that are part of a team will be marked with duct tape on at least one arm, encompassing the entire arm without any concealment, and duct tape or other marking on their helmet, encompassing the entire circumference of the helmet without any concealment. Any attempt to conceal or hide these markings will result in a total of a 30-point deduction per person per incident.
Vehicle markings. In order to mark your vehicle, you must tape the end of your antenna. In order for your antenna to be properly taped, you must place 2 strips, at least 4 finger lengths or 4 inches in tail length. The 2 pieces of tape must be above the body of the vehicle. For the vehicle to be in play, you must have tape on your antenna. For any reason, if the tape comes off, you must immediately stop and re-tape your antenna. If you're caught taking tape off of your antenna, you will receive 30 points deduction.
Sensitive items. It is the responsibility of the unit to account for all sensitive items. Ideally, sensitive items will remain under the control of the casualties chain of command and not be evacuated to the BSA. Casualties can, however, be evacuated with their sensitive items if no unit representative is available to take positive control of those items. More information regarding the specifics of dead-on arrival and died of wounds procedures can be found in Chapter 8, Sustainment of the EXOP. All soldiers who are assessed as casualties will be provided with a medical casualty card, MCC, by an OCT. Among other information that is used by medical personnel, the MCC will contain patient instructions informing the casualty if they are a litter or ambulatory patient and to what extent, if any, that they can continue assisting the unit. Casualty cards fall into one of 4 evacuation categories: routine, priority, urgent, and KIA. Routine. Soldiers with a routine card may receive self or buddy aid and require evacuation to a medical treatment facility, MTF. Routine casualties will be assessed as dead on arrival, DOA, if not evacuated to the servicing MTF within 24 hours. Priority. Soldiers with a priority casualty card must receive proper treatment from qualified medical personnel. In addition, they must be treated by a physician or physician's assistant and to be evacuated to a Roll 2 MTF. Soldiers with priority injuries have 4 hours to receive treatment at a Roll 1 MTF by a qualified healthcare provider, a physician or physician's assistant, for stabilization. Once stabilized at the Roll 1, the patient is granted 4 hours to be evacuated to the Role 2 MTF and receive treatment by the Role 2 healthcare providers. The evacuation times are not cumulative. The Role 2 MTF has the option of either evacuating the patients further or stabilizing them in their patient holding area. Patients will be returned to duty after 3 hours of stabilization inside the holding area.
Movement of dismounted patrols. Training units must inform OCTs of all dismounted patrolling operations. Units may conduct a patrol if coverage is insufficient. In the event of an inadvertent contact without an OCT present, the senior person present for each side will remove headgear, sling weapon, and assume the role of OCT. They will do that in order to adjudicate contact within the limits of the XOP. LPOPs must be established with OCT knowledge and purpose, location, and duration. Misfire procedures. RTU howitzer sections must properly execute all procedures to extract the rounds in the presence of an OCT before firing another mission. After all procedures are executed correctly, the howitzer will wait 15 minutes prior to resumption of fire. Engagement credit. An OCT must observe engagements for the unit to receive credit. The howitzer must orient its tube towards the target and apply the correct quadrant and the range determined. Battlefield effects and adjudication. The firing unit will call for fire via a communications device. An OCT with FO or the firing point broadcasts over the direct LMR net that the fire mission is imminent. OCTs relay the grid for the fire mission. Shot over will serve as the second warning on the OCT net. Splash over triggers BFE impact and subsequent BDA. The OCT then adjudicates on the ground and sends back the BDA via LMR over the OCT net. OCTs provide the BDA to the firing unit and the targeted unit. The firing unit reports the BDA to higher headquarters. The ex-con will also be responsible for accounting for the BDA and noting the score. The use of cell phones to command or control battlefield operations will result in battlefield effects being assessed by an OCT, or a turnover of violators' location to an enemy via LMR and an 8-digit grid. Rules regarding different types of engagements, backblast areas, and weapons effects can be found in Chapter 2 of the XRO.
General safety. Safety brief requirements. All rotational training unit personnel will receive a YTC environmental awareness and rotational safety briefing from the supporting OCT team prior to conducting any field training. Rotational training unit responsibilities. The rotational unit is responsible for the safeguard of its personnel and equipment. OCTs will only directly intervene if the unit's lack of ability or unwillingness will potentially lead to the loss of life, limb, or eyesight. OCTs will assist the unit by providing close observation and constant feedback on all unit activities. Uniform. All participants and observers will wear appropriate, serviceable uniforms and personal protective equipment as directed by their chain of command and current SOPs. In addition, all training soldiers will wear eye protection. While maneuvering, exposed crew members will wear protective goggles. Vehicle safety. Licensing. Only fully trained and properly licensed personnel will operate vehicles during Raven Focus. Personnel with learner's permits are not authorized to operate vehicles as part of unit training, other than to take part in an approved driver's training program.
Marking. Designate and mark sleeping areas with white engineer tape in accordance with DA PAM 385-15 or in accordance with unit SOP. The engineer tape should be chest high from the ground and have chem lights on any corner. This standard applies regardless of the sleeping area location within the TAA. When possible, sleeping areas should be located in areas naturally protected with vegetation. Dangerous terrain or obstacles within the unit assembly areas, such as cliffs and unoccupied fighting vehicle positions, will be marked with engineer tape and/or chem lights. Thank you for watching the Raven Focus XOP video. We hope you take this seriously. The success of Raven Focus is predicated on you.